Hello and welcome to today's video where we're going to cover MSI Day 2, my thoughts and some stats on the games today, and then preview the two series that will take place tomorrow at MSI Play-ins Day 3. So first we have Fnatic and GAM Esports. So this series, in my opinion, was very dominant out of Fnatic. Were there some issues and hiccups in the mid game? Yes, but personally, all those solo kills that were pulled off, Humanoid got a couple on Emo. I think he also got one on Easy Love as well. We saw Noah getting a solo kill on Easy Love. We saw, although Kiea did solo kill Oscar in that matchup, TF into Ornn. Just personally, I just think Fnatic were very good. Hiccups are what they are. Hell, one of the games they had 32 kills as they were about to go siege the Nexus. Like, the fact of the matter is, like, they were very dominant. And when you play that carefree, it kind of goes to show just maybe how they approach the series in general. I think people are making too much about these two series. So, game one, we saw Fnatic very aggressive. Razork and Humanoid all over the Rift. Humanoid on the way, I believe, in game one. Very, very aggressive. Like, they found moments to make things happen, making 7 plays. And altogether in this series, they would make 12 to GAM's 4. In game one, laning phase ended at like 15 minutes. And although GAM had a 600 gold lead in top lane, that was a lot to do with the Twisted Fate passive, because they had went topside 3 times in the case of Fnatic and ensured that Oscar had a decent lane. And in the other 3 areas, they were up at least 800 gold. In mid lane, Humanoid was up 2.1k over Emo. Emo struggled, but that was to be expected. I think if anybody expected Emo to show up at this event and be, even average, I think that was unfair to him. Just really, really tough. I know some people I saw in some comment sections cite how LCS plays 14 games, Emo played 13 games in BCS playoffs, so he should be ready for this event. That is absolutely insanity to even fathom that, because it's just not the same. It's not the same. We know Vietnam is a minor region. And the LCS, although is not very strong, it is still a major region with a lot more in terms of facilities and things of that nature to help a player grow. Where Vietnam, there is a lot of struggles. It's like, oh, he was a sub on this team. Yeah, he was a sub, but he was not a starter. There's a reason why he's not the starter. It's truly something that I even had to see that anywhere in today's series. In terms of decision making, we saw that this was another game where, well, actually in both, to be quite honest, GAM took grubs. 10 of 12. In the end, Fnatic would get both Rift Heralds because they were so aggressive and were able to keep ahead in the game and then have that prio to take Herald. They also would take 7 Drakes to GAM's 0. So this is, like I said, another series where the losing side took all the grubs, the winning side took Drakes. However, I did mention yesterday, really, FlyQuest PSG is the only series of the 4 that I felt like we could really take something from because of how close the series is on paper, that we expected it to go to 3 games, where the other 3 series we anticipated blowouts. In terms of power plays and penalty kills, so power play, how successful were teams with Baron? Well, Fnatic would end a game with a Baron, so keep that in mind. But on average, we're ahead about 1,350 gold when they took the 2 Barons. Now, another interesting fact, GAM snuck a Baron in game 1. And in the end, it didn't make a difference. They actually come out negative on that power play. Understandably, they did get, technically, you could say they were positive because of the 1525 gold that they get immediately taking the Baron, but I ignore that and I see what did you do with this advantage? What did you do with the sieging power of the Baron? And they actually come out negative 387. So Fnatic, that was a moment where GAM could have kind of fought back, but Fnatic were the better team. We saw that with outplays and things of that nature. So not a big shock here. Game 2, another dominant performance. Humanoid up 1.2k gold. 1.1k gold at 15 minute. Well, shoot, not even 15. 10:50 that game was. first turret. So 1.1k for Humanoid, 1.2 for Razork. So Razork actually getting ahead of Levi by quite a bit in terms of gold and making things happen. Like Levi left a lot to be desired. There were moments on the brand where he kind of showed some life, but Razork and Humanoid were not going to be denied. Humanoid once again showing internationally against at least minor region players that he is definitely better than they are. This was evident. And that's not just about Emo, that's in general. Like, he was ahead of everybody. Emo playing Tristana. If Humanoid's going to roam, Tristana's a great pick, in my opinion, against somebody that roams, because you go take the turret. Trist or Ziggs, you go take the turret, and now you've offset the gold. But it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. So that's a thing. So Fnatic winning this one in many different ways, to be quite honest, outside of Grubs, I guess. But it looks like that decision, the team taking Grubs is the team that's losing a lot of these lopsided series. Top Esports and Loud. Loud made this a very chaotic series, and that's what you need to do to have a chance. A lot of people, I think, like I said, reading into this a bit too much, believing Top Esports, that they don't even belong here, that they're going to struggle throughout this event and things of that nature, and I don't buy it. BLG were not clean to start last MSI, I believe into Golden Guardians, if I recall. So the fact of the matter is, Top did win. Top had 4 or 5k gold leads at 20 or so minutes in game 2. Just a very messy game. And that's what you have. I say this all the time. I say it about Vietnam. That's why I think VCS has a chance against major regions sometimes when they have a roster that actually is their starting roster, because they thrive in the chaos. And a lot of people expect this macro clinic, and it just isn't going to be the case. If that minor region team comes out and pops that other team in the mouth right away, this game is not a macro game anymore. It's a brawl. It's a brawl, and Loud were very, very physical in that brawl. If you could find for lack of a better term, they were very physical in this. And honestly, I give them a lot of credit. And Top Esports, the fight would start in Loud's favor as the mid to late game went along, and then Top Esports would kind of say no, they would out team fight them, but that is how Loud needed to play. And that's frankly how teams do need to play against LCK and LPL if they want a chance. This whole macro thing is not going to work, in my opinion. So, game 1 at 15 minutes, Loud actually were more active. So TN did not really get any plays off. There were team fights around objectives, especially on the bot side of the rift, but nothing that I would consider to be a gank or a dive necessarily, where Loud actually did make 2 plays. So Croc made things happen, but TN on Viego was farming, up 25 CS, and then would take that throughout this series. On average, he had over 700 DPM. So, he did work. Oh, by the way, stats for Fnatic GAM. Humanoid 22-7, 18, 36% of damage. June 1-37, best KDA. Kiea 4, 15 deaths, 7 assists, 22% of damage in the loss. So back to this. TN getting leads and then doing something with them in damage. So, this whole notion maybe TN was getting gapped. There's a trade here. You're going to make a play, and I'm going to farm and then make plays in the mid to late game, and that's what happened. So Top take all 6 Grubs. They take Herald. They won Drake's 3-1. We did see Route and Redbert play pretty well in this series, I thought. Redbert's playing Nautilus, so what do you really expect? But at the same time, I thought he hit a lot of nice hooks. Thought he hit some hooks he probably shouldn't have taken, but that aggressiveness, frankly, that the pedal had to stay to the metal, in my honest opinion. Even if it's like, oh, well, they got to the mid game and it's close, they should start. No, keep it going, because you need to keep this a chaotic mess. You don't want it to stabilize, because if it stabilizes, in my opinion, that's when the better team is just going to outplay you and win. So in terms of Barons, Top Esports got 2, Loud didn't get any. Game 2, a lot more lopsided for Top Esports. They were ahead in all 4 areas. We saw 1.3k gold lead for 369 into Robo. A 1.2k gold lead for Tien into Croc. Like, Tien was gapping Croc in this series, in my opinion. 3 plays attempted by both teams. So in the end, Loud actually were more active than Top Esports, 5-3. A lot less than the other series, half as much, actually. They did take 3 Drakes. The Grubs were not a concern for either side in Game 2. I wonder if that's something we should watch going forward. In terms of the total of this series, so 6-2 for Top Esports in terms of Drakes, 7-1 in terms of Grubs. Power plays averaged 2,053 gold with 3 Barons, and Loud allowed 2,053 gold with 3 Barons. So both 80 carries and mid laners dealt over 1,000 DPM in this series. That is just to show you just how crazy this 2-0 was. It was very, very chaotic. Cream, 15, 5, and 19, 29% of damage in the win. 3, 6, 9, 8, 1, 19 in top lane. Root, 10, 6, 13, 33% of damage in the loss. Preview for tomorrow. So these teams have not crossed paths before. So we're going to look at what players have crossed paths. In the case of T1 FlyQuest, Inspired and Owner have played against each other twice. MSI, I'm going to say this before I start. Technically, the Jensen Maple stuff, I was inaccurate. I didn't include LCS Spring 2022 in my Jensen Maple stuff. Just full disclosure before that series took place a couple days ago. I believe these are accurate. If you want to fact check it and I'm wrong, you can go ahead. But Owner and Inspired have played against each other twice. They split 1-1 at MSI 2022. Inspired on EG at the time. Owner had a 1.7 KDA, but on average a 900 gold lead, 9 CS, and 34 XP lead. Inspired had a 3.8 KDA. Faker and Jensen, based on what I've seen, have played against each other 8 times in their career. Faker is winning that 8-0. In terms of KDA, Faker 5.3, Jensen 0.9. Faker had 3 solo kills. Jensen had 1 into each other, mind you. And then Faker on average 413 gold, 2 CS, and 322 XP ahead at 15 minutes across those 8 games. Top Esports Fnatic. None of these players have crossed paths. So we're going to look at what the bans were like today in their series. So, Top Esports, they did not want to play against Robo Zoloft. That makes sense, as well as the Jacks. We'll see if Oscar draws those same bans tomorrow. In terms of against, Top Esports faced Rumble, Renekton, Kayssante, Aatrox bans. Clearly Loud wanted to get 369 on the back foot. Out of the 12 bans we saw, like the most common bans or whatever, it was majority top laners. And then followed by Jungle. So Top Esports banned Croc, Xin Zhao, Lee Sin, Sejuani. They didn't face any bans, but by that point, Croc's like, oh crap, what do we got for options here? So clearly, Top Esports banning out the top side of Loud. They also banned out Callista, and they faced Ahri bans as evidently Loud didn't want to play into Cream's Ahri. Now Fnatic against GAM. Fnatic banned a couple one tricks or so carry-oriented picks for Levi. They got rid of the Nocturne and the Karthus, something I highlighted yesterday as a possibility because, Levi's most played, I believe, was Nocturne this past year. Or he might be the only player at the tournament to have played it. Fnatic, against them, GAM banned Vi once. We saw in Game 1 that Razork had Vi. That was... You can see why maybe they wanted to ban it. GAM also banned Azir and LeBlanc. We'll see if those bans occur tomorrow because Cream did play Azir. So, maybe they're willing to leave it up and play, into it however they would like to choose to. Bot lane, a lot of bans in the Fnatic GAM series. So GAM playing Easy Love as the backup, so maybe it'll be a little different tomorrow. But GAM did ban, Fnatic banned Senna and Draven. I expect them to ban Draven again tomorrow. If they didn't want to play it into Easy Love, they sure as shit won't want to play it against Jackie Love. Or the Senna, for that matter. We saw Top Esports play Senna today as well. And And also, Loud banned Noah's Lucian, Varus, and Callista. So that's interesting that they didn't want to give him any of those picks if they could have avoided it. And Fnatic also banned Lulu and then Nautilus against Redbird. So this series, I think, is going to be a little bit closer than that one. A lot of people indicating, FlyQuest did play very well against PSG, and T1 didn't look that great in Dostral. But like I said, I think we're making too much of these four first series that we saw the last couple days. So we'll see how these ones go. We have the top four teams that are expected to leave the play-in stage. I know these four teams are the ones I predicted that would go, and that's no hot take. That is what it is. So thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.